The Giants, I'm a bit more optimistic than you guys. I think the Giants will shock the world this year. I think they will make the playoffs again. I think they'll make the playoffs comfortably. I think they're going to win 10 games. I really do. I think even though it's a tougher schedule now, mark my words today, September 9th, right before the season, the Giants will make the playoffs, and I think it's going to come by beating these good teams and these really one-score games just like they did last year. It's these hard-nosed, gritty, whatever you want to call it, right? You know, that blue-collar style of football that they always play is just even the good teams, even the bad teams, you'll win very close games. Doesn't matter how you do it, a win's a win. And I'm excited to see how the Giants play.
Brij Gautam, the veteran, 36 years old. Great breakthrough by Thomas, who blocked it. And Igbenogany has it for Dallas. Noah Igbenogany stays in bounds, and the Cowboys special teams gets the first score of the year. This was picked. Back the other way, Witherspoon. How about 6 points? Now going deep to the far side, caught. It's Hill. Touchdown.
Against Waller. No call.
No good.
Traffic and throws back in the end zone. Crosby's kick is no good.
You know, I've lived in the city for 22 years, and some things never change. You know, I did watch the Giants win 2 Super Bowls, but throughout my time as a Giants fan and as a Giants beat reporter, I've never seen the Giants be truly dominant. What do I mean by that? Well, outside of those 2 title runs, the Giants were mediocre at best under Eli Manning. No stat better exemplifies this than his .500 career winning percentage. But I'll give Eli credit. You know, he showed up when it counted most. But since his retirement, the Giants have struggled to find an identity. 3 head coaches in the past 5 seasons, that certainly doesn't help. But last year, I thought we'd turned a corner. 9 wins, playoff victory on the road at Minnesota, a great first step for Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen. This year, well, obviously a bit of a step backwards. But if you look closely, this season wasn't all that different than last season. The Giants won 9 games last year, but 8 of them were by 1 score or less. And you know what that tells me? Maybe, just maybe, the Giants got a bit lucky. See, this year, the Giants once again played in 8 one-score games, but this time, they only won 4 of them. In each of their 4 one-score losses, the Giants were just 1 play away from winning. A combined 4 plays away from 10 wins. But don't let that convince you that the Giants are a good team. Because guess what? Good teams are dominant. The Giants aren't dominant, and never have been dominant in my lifetime. If half your games are decided by 1 score, then yeah, one year you'll win 8 of those and the next year you'll win 4. We saw this year that that's not a winning formula. The story of the 2023 New York Giants can be boiled down to inconsistency. After signing Daniel Jones to a 4-year deal worth $160 million, the team went 1-5 with him under center before he suffered a torn ACL. Tyrod Taylor, yeah, he was a serviceable backup. Even he couldn't stay healthy. Then came Tommy DeVito. A feel-good story of an undrafted hometown kid living at home with his parents. Yeah, 3-game win streak, it gave fans hope, but DeVito's Linsanity run ultimately came to an end, along with the team's slim playoff hopes, and Tyrod Taylor finished the season as the starter. So, coming into Week 18 against the Philadelphia Eagles, fans were just ready for the season to end, but by the end of the game, it wasn't Giant fans that wanted the season to be over, it was Eagle fans.
It was terrible. Like real terrible. The defense was terrible. Hurts got injured. I don't know. I just feel like we just don't look too good. We're just gonna have to try next year again. I'm just gonna be honest.
This was not a game I think anyone expected the Giants to win, especially with the playoff implications on the line. Philadelphia currently holds the wild card spot, and by currently I mean coming into today they held the number 5 seed. However, with a win today over the Giants and a Dallas Cowboys loss, they would have moved up to that number 2 seed. However, they did not win today, and Dallas won. So because of those two things, Philadelphia will stand at the number 5 seed. And I'll walk you through today's game. The Giants had an explosive first half. They came out guns blazing. It started with a Mason Crosby 24-yard field goal. They got into the red zone. They settled there. It was 3-0 at the end of the first quarter. But it was in the second quarter that Tyrod Taylor and his receivers started clicking on all cylinders, and that included Wan'Dale Robinson. But it really was the ground game that got them into the end zone. I'm talking about 2 Saquon Barkley rushing touchdowns in the second quarter alone, and then a Darius Slayton 19-yard touchdown catch and run for another Giants touchdown with about $1:47 left in the first half. It was 24-0. Again, to recap, we had a Crosby field goal, 2 Saquon touchdowns, both on the ground, 2-yard rush, 3-yard rush respectively, and then a Darius Slayton 19-yard catch and run. That made the score 24-0 at the half. And I think Eagles fans, they were looking at the scoreboard. They realized, all right, Dallas is kind of blowing out Washington. We're not going to have a chance. And because of that, Jalen Hurts was benched. In came Marcus Mariota. Eagles played their reserves in the second half. They did get some offense going. They had a Jake Elliott field goal. Quez Watkins got in the end zone, courtesy of a Marcus Mariota pass, 16 yards for a score. They cut it to 24-10. However, once the Giants got the ball back, it was all G-men. They took up as much time as they could. Crosby kicked a 21-yard field goal. The final score, 27-10. Some notes for the game, and I'll start with Philadelphia. Some big injuries for them, and that includes A.J. Brown, an apparent knee injury. We don't know the extent of that injury as of now, but not good news if you're an Eagles fan and you're looking at a potential playoff run. I mentioned in the Packers game that it felt like a Jets home game with all the green. I have to echo that sentiment once again tonight. So much green in the crowd, and it makes sense. This was meant to be a victory lap of a game for the Philadelphia Eagles, but finishing 1-5 in their last 6 games leaves more questions than answers. A big win for the Giants, a really feel-good win. This is my last game reporting as a member of the press for WFUV Sports, so really enjoyed being here for a win. And for the Giants to beat a rival like the Eagles, as I mentioned, it feels good. Seeing those Eagles fans leave early, it was a nice statement win. A lot of questions heading into the offseason. There have been rumors about defensive coordinator Wink Martindale. Where will he go? Offensive coordinator Mike Kafka, will he stick around? Brian Daboll, I think his job is safe. They will have the number 6 overall pick in next year's draft. Potentially looking for a quarterback. I don't know yet. But in terms of this game, it was a nice way to end a season that we already knew was lost. So making the best of a bad situation. Now here's what Brian Daboll had to say after the game.
Yeah, I mean, one year is so different than the next. I'm just going to enjoy this one here. I mean, we were 3-3 in the division. I thought we got off to a really good start in the first half, played physical game, made some explosive plays, played complimentary football. So, I'm just happy for the guys right now. There's a long time between now and the next season, as you all know. So just enjoy this one and, proud of the way the guys competed and fought and ultimately made more plays.
I also caught up with Sterling Shepard in the locker room after the game. He did have all the attention on him as he likely had his last game as a member of the New York Giants today. Really sad. He is the longest tenured Giant. He did talk about in the locker room, when he walked in as a rookie, Odell Beckham Jr., Victor Cruz, those were some of the names that were wandering the halls of the Quest Diagnostics Training Center right on the other side of the stadium over here. So it's hard to believe that, those guys that seemed so long ago, connected by Sterling Shepard, the longest tenured Giant. Here's what he had to say after the game.
What kind of emotions went through your mind today?
Really just trying to take it all in. Like I told you guys earlier in the week, I knew that this was probably going to be my last time being in this jersey. I just wanted to take it all in with my brothers enjoy every moment of it. And that's exactly what I did.
You said you had wanted to get into the top 5 of the Giants receiving category. You did pass Jeremy Shockey and get into that 5th spot. How much did it mean to you?
Yeah, it meant a lot. I grew up watching that guy. And, it was a special deal being able to get it. It wasn't easy, but my career hasn't been easy. So I didn't expect it to be any other way. It was a great feeling.
It's been a pleasure to cover the Giants all season long. but my coverage doesn't end today. While my Giants coverage may be coming to a close, now begins the road to Vegas. I'll be covering you from now all the way until Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas, where I'll be joined by Julia Moss, Chris Persianen, and Brian Raybacks at Radio Row. And from now until then, for WFUV Sports, I'm Brij Gautam. We're inside 2 minutes. MetLife Stadium's rocking, but it's not over just yet because the Ravens have a playmaker. They have an MVP in Lamar Jackson. But just when things started to look up for the Ravens,
Jackson